guys, welcome back to the Bull Talk with Big Jim podcast.
Guess what, motherfucker?
Some of the information you are about to hear, some may find disturbing.
I don't know who gave them this or who gave them the clearance. On the crotch.
Oh my lord.
Right there.
Can we Google that?
Yeah, that's what I thought. And then I fucking stumbled down a dark hole and I love it.
Great cake parties. You know, if I'm going to believe anybody's bullshit, I'm going to believe mine.
It sounds not politically correct, but
You two motherfuckers need Jesus.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Bo Talks with Big Jim podcast. I'm correcting my video. Oh, here we go. There we go.
Oh my God.
So, welcome back to the podcast, everybody.
All right, dude. All right.
Now, if you couldn't tell, I am dressed up as Deadpool. We have a very...
You're the most calm-sounding Deadpool I've ever heard.
Oh, thank you very much. Appreciate it. I'm not going to lie, though. I'm probably going to take this mask off because I'm sweating my ass off right now.
Yeah, it gets gross.
So anyways...
I'm so impressed. I totally forgot you were going to dress up. I'm so excited.
We are back, and we have a very special guest today. We have JJ Stingray, a good high school friend of mine. How are you doing? How have you been?
Good, man. I'm hanging in there. It's busy, and then suddenly not, and then suddenly busy. So you've been on like the receiving end of that for sure.
It's been pretty busy. We've both been pretty busy, so I'm very excited to have you on. This is definitely going to be something interesting. I've always heard about cosplay. I've seen it everywhere, especially being a nerd, quote unquote.
A nerd.
Yeah. So again, thank you for being here.
Man.
We are your hosts. I am Bo. I got my dad, Big Jim, with us.
How you doing, JJ?
Hi, nice to finally meet you.
Finally.
All right. So the way we're going to kind of kickstart this is I have a couple of questions. Is when did you first start getting into cosplay and like comic books?
So I was actually really late to the comic book scene and ultimately really late to the cosplay scene. I didn't get into comics until I was maybe 18 or 19.
No way.
So well after high school and, a little into college. And then I got into cosplay, it'll be 4 years ago, next month. Actually, another high school friend, I don't know if you know him, AJ Rodriguez.
Yes.
Yeah, so he actually helped start a group locally here called Heroes United. And in a weird way, he's actually how I got started to cosplaying. I got involved with the charity group and started cosplaying from there.
What? That's really cool.
Yeah, so
That's
we're
really
just doing cool, exciting, artsy-fartsy stuff out here.
Yeah. So was this? So it was kind of just like a fluke kind of thing then, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I had no intention of ever doing this. In fact, I actually made fun of one of my friends in high school for being into cosplay, and now I'm like, I could kick myself.
Oh, dude. I mean, you're wearing.
Man, I'm sorry.
And what's cool is you have a plethora of different costumes. I was showing my wife and you were dressed up as She-Hulk, Captain Marvel.
My favorite.
Yeah,
She-Hulk's my favorite.
Yay! Yes! She might be my favorite right now too. Literally any reason to paint myself green, I'm down. I'm here for it.
Now,
Or Poison Ivy. I like Poison Ivy as well.
Poison Ivy's cool.
Oh,
Poison
thank you. That was really fun and surprisingly easy. So.
And that's actually kind of what my next question was going to be. How difficult is it to do cosplay? Because I mean, it seems like it's a lot of time and effort to obviously paint yourself, and then to get all these different costumes.
Oh, for sure. It's actually kind of stupid easy to get into cosplay. As far as a hobby, it's so much more accessible now as far as costumes and tutorials and advice. It is so much more mainstream than it has ever been before. So it's actually really cool seeing people who have never thought about doing it before transition into it.
Mhm.
So, like the costumes are already out there, but there are so many talented people who make their own costumes, who make their own paints, who style their own wigs. So I guess from a starting point, it's really easy, but as you get more and more into it, you realize that you like making more of your stuff, and not every character is to be as mainstream as the last.
Right.
So there comes a point when you do have to start making your own costumes and doing your own stuff, or at least reaching out to local artists and like prop makers and stuff.
And
So
how
you owned all of your costumes that you have on your webpage, on your Instagram page, correct?
So a lot of them I have bought throughout the years because, like I said, over 4 years, it accumulates so quickly. Pretty much every new character that you find that you want to cosplay, you go out and you find what exists and you make what doesn't. So that's pretty much how I built, like you said, such a plethora of a closet of cosplays, because pretty much every new character that I fell in love with, I'm like, yep, I want to cosplay that. And went and found everything like a psycho.
and doing cosplay, is this just something for fun, or is this like a full-time job?
No, right now it's just for fun. I initially got started to work with a charity group. So at first it was just a really cool, fun way to volunteer. But then I did start getting jobs because of it. So every once in a while I'll start doing like the party princess thing. Like I've gone as a superhero or a princess to like birthday parties. But then I got this gig going out to WonderCon, which is a convention out in California. I was able to be a booth babe, essentially, and dress up as a comic book artist character. He had the costume, and he literally, pays for girls to, like, go out dressed as his character and help promote the comic book. So I got to do that, and that was really freaking cool. So,
Really?
Yeah, that was a freaking blast, because everything was paid for. We got to go to California and just hang out with a bunch of artists. It was so much fun.
In doing this, have you met any interesting people? Aside from other cosplayers, but like some authentic comic artists and heroes.
I got to meet Rob Liefeld, which was really freaking cool. Which is amazing that you were Deadpool. I'm like, yes, that's awesome. But yeah, I got to meet him. I was with a buddy who was dressed as Cable. We were at Las Vegas Amazing Comic-Con, and he had a booth set up in the line literally wrapped around the convention center. And he saw us walking by. My buddy was dressed up like Cable, and I was dressed up like Hope Summers. And he stopped us, and he's like, "Can I get a picture with you guys?" We're like, "Yes, you can." So that was probably my favorite. He was just so nice and so sweet. And we're like, "We don't want to take up your time. Like, there's a huge line."
Yeah.
But he was just so unbelievably nice.
That's crazy.
That's
That's
cool.
hella crazy. So kind of my next question, like everything, there's good and there's bad, right? So what is your best known day as a cosplayer, and what is your not your worst, but your day where it's just like, oh man, I really want to get dressed up and go do this, and like, so what's the good side, like, yeah, where you got just so excited to, hey, I'm gonna dress up as what's her name, Merida, and then the next one I'm gonna dress up as She-Hulk, but damn it, putting 2.5 hours into just painting my face.
That's really it, dude. Especially right now when we're in this weird pandemic session. A lot of what I do is purely just to like take pictures at home. So even just to like find the motivation to put on the makeup and to put on the wig, just to sit in front of my own camera, take like 10 pictures and then be done. That's been a real struggle, and I know a lot of other cosplayers are kind of there right now too. It's like, what's the point? Like, we're not going out, we can't volunteer. Like, it's just so weird. But at the same time, I feel like everyone's kind of finding their stride again. Like, I know I am, which is really exciting to be able to do this with you guys, because you're literally on the cusp of me getting back into it.
Sweet.
So
Well, I'm
I
glad we
would
can
say
help.
the whole pandemic was a bad time for cosplay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I could only imagine. Now, that was actually leading up to my question, and I didn't really consider that you couldn't do any charity work. I understand the Comic Cons and all the Wonder
Yeah.
Cons and all that, but the charity, I was looking at your page last night, and you are a part of a lot of charity groups. And
Yeah.
the biggest one is AZ Women, Superhero
So
Women.
the Super Ladies Foundation.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
So that's actually one that my friends and I literally just started during the pandemic. We had a girls' day, got drunk, and decided to start a charity group. And
Hey, that's some of the best ideas ever.
Yeah, this idea about
with your friends, you start a charity group.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
so when was the last time you did any charity work? Because charity work, when little Jim was sick, he actually was at the St. Joseph's Hospital when he was diagnosed with diabetes when he was 7, and
Yep.
that was the biggest morale booster for me alone. Even, I mean, it wasn't a cosplay, but it just, unfortunately, he was diagnosed around Halloween, so all the nurses walked around the hallway with him, and every room had sugar-free candy.
I was pissed.
So
Oh, that's so cute. Oh my gosh,
was
I'm
cool.
gonna cry.
it was
That's
cool.
so
I mean,
cool.
and I did cry last night. I thought about my kid. It was tragic the way it happened, and it's
Yeah.
unfortunate. But when they did that, that kind of wiped it all away for me for one day. And you guys get to do
Man.
this weekend, so
Yeah.
kudos
No,
to
that's-
you.
That's exactly the goal. No, it's
Yeah.
because of people like you that we're able to do stuff like that. So I've been with this group, Common Care, for the past year, and that's exactly what we do. We do like the hospital visits,
Yeah,
and like that's been insane. Like I can't go back to not doing that. It is such a life changer. And to be
Oh,
able
yeah.
to meet families that have gone through exactly what you guys have gone through.
yeah,
We've met with families that have since lost their kids, and to be able to still be a part of their lives even after the fact is like pretty incredible. I'm like trying not to cry right now. Like I love being able to do stuff like that. So not being able to do it right now, it does suck. We have been able to do like virtual visits, which is awesome. We'll do like pre-recordings to like send to kids for like their birthdays and stuff like that. So we're not completely without options, but now as hospitals have gone busier and overbooked, to really take anyone's time away from helping their their patients, we're like, okay, we can clearly take a step back. That's kind of priority. So
yeah. And I'm sure. I mean,
That's it.
unfortunately, last year you did lose an individual you guys were close to by the name of Kim. Is that correct?
Jewel.
Jewel, the one in the wheelchair.
Yeah.
Yeah. So sorry. How do you get by with that? I mean, like you said, there's a good and a bad for everything. Going into this type of charity work, there is that you have to take that into consideration.
Oh yeah. And it's crazy that you bring her up because Kim was Jewel's mom, and she was just diagnosed with cancer this last week.
Oh,
So stuff like that, it hits you hard. You'd have to be a pretty cut off person to not be affected by it, but to realize what your options are, not only as a cosplayer or volunteer, but just as another human being, just all the ways that you can give back to people like that. Whether it is a simple message as someone's favorite princess, or just showing up to wave from outside the window when they're having a bad day. Like, you don't have to be in costume to make someone's day like that. So stuff like that, stuff like Jewel, there's always fundraisers for people who are in situations like that. Right now, there's a lot of like car parades going on for kids, which I think is probably the coolest thing to come out of this whole thing.
sure, I agree.
I've been a part of like 4 or 5 of those now, and it's insane. You just watch like 20 to like 100 cars go by, and they're all decked out, and people are screaming, and there's like cops and firefighters and all of this going by, and it's probably one of the coolest things to come out of it is just the general humanity that I think everyone is trying to unify in right now. We're all just trying to do what we can for each other, and I think the line is drawn between the good and the bad, and the good sticks out just as well as the bad.
Yeah.
So
Do you do a lot of birthday parties as well?
I do, yeah. So it's funny, I actually have to record like 5 birthday videos before Wednesday this week. There's like 3 different characters, and I'm like procrastinating like crazy. And I'm like, this is so dumb. I'm gonna have to record all the videos in one day like a maniac. But I've done it before, I'll do it again.
Yeah.
Oh, well, all the energy toward you to get that accomplished.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I will gladly accept all of it. That and all the energy drinks. Just
all that. So,
I just got finished with mine.
So
Nice.
I have a really important question, and Dad, you may not know, but the image behind you is the Green Lantern.
Oh yeah, Ryan Reynolds.
The DC comic. Now, we're probably going to geek out for a solid 5 to 10 minutes here, but Jen, I know you watched it. DC fandom. What are you most excited for?
I actually had to work yesterday,
No.
so I missed a lot of it. But I was able to watch the Batman trailer, the Wonder Woman trailer, Suicide Squad, Gotham Knights. So I caught up on a lot of it. But I am so freaking stoked.
I'm super juiced. How do you feel? Okay, so first and foremost, I'm sure it's a question for every comic book fan. How do you feel about the Batman?
Okay. So here's the deal. I'm
pulling up her sleeves, everybody.
Yeah. Like, all right, sit in, dudes. Let's do this. So I freaking love Robert Pattinson. Like, freaking prior to Twilight and post, I don't care that he was ever a sparkly vampire. That literally has nothing to do with it. I love him as an artist and an actor. Him as Bruce Wayne, I'm like, meh.
Yeah.
But him as Batman is absolutely killer. And the fact that they incorporated so much from the Arkham games into his fighting style, into his costume, I am so excited. They did so well.
I'm unbelievably
I'm
juiced.
so impressed.
Yeah, he actually, I mean, I was very skeptical. I'm not going to lie. I was extremely skeptical. And then when I saw the trailer yesterday and and I saw this TikTok video where someone had put a little tag that said, did this guy really just end up in a wheelchair for asking him who he was? And he beats the living hell out of this dude. I was like, this is the Batman. This is the Batman. Like, he just starts pummeling this guy like hardcore. I'm super juiced. And then on top of that, not only did they incorporate the games, but now going back to another branch of DC, the Suicide Squad, something that I've been waiting for so long. And what I've extremely been waiting for is Harley Quinn, not to say that she's not bad in David Ayer's Suicide Squad, but they went back to the original.
Yeah.
Red and black, white face, ready to
they
go.
Went classic, and
Classic.
that's all fans wanted, was just some kind of homage to the original.
And she looks badass in this one.
She looks amazing. I am so stoked for that.
I cannot wait. I'm very, very excited.
The costumes that are going to come out of that too are going to be freaking phenomenal.
Oh, yeah.
Just you watch the cosplayers that come out with the like in the next few like weeks and like months.
Easily.
Just watch.
Easily.
It's going to start popping up for sure. And there's going to be some dope ones.
The two, honestly, other than Harley Quinn, the two that I'm really excited for people to actually start dressing up as is King Shark and Weasel.
Yes. Some of it's so crazy too, because you just forget how extensive the Batman universe is. Like all these like B and C list like villains, but then you've got villains like King Shark, which is not like a B-list villain. It's a pretty integral part of the Batman series.
He is a class villain.
Sure. So when we're finally deviating away from what the DCU has reinterpreted as A-list villains and going back to the comics and going back to the originals. I am so excited to see these villains remodernized and readapted. Like, I think it could be done so well if
It's
they
going to
do
be
it
done
right.
great.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
one more thing that I kind of want to play off of here is because I would say I'm a mediocre comic book fan, mediocre comic book movie fan, and everyone's like, why is there so many Batman? You have Robert Pattinson, and then you got Michael Keaton coming back for Flashpoint, and
Yeah.
and
Yes.
yes, and Ben
Yeah.
Affleck and
Yep.
Ben Affleck coming
Really?
back for yes.
Batfleck.
But they're all coming back, and I was just talking to my wife about this, and she's like, "Why is there so many?" And I was like, "Well, you gotta realize too, there's a multiverse within DC Comics, so I wouldn't be surprised that the again we're kind of geeking out a little bit.
I'm interested. Keep going.
No, I'm like, that's why I'm here.
This is
I need it for that.
this is my whole crazy theory on this is that Ezra Miller, Barry Allen, the Flash, he traveled back in time to get Ben Affleck from Dawn of Justice. I'm definitely going to keep calling him that, by the way.
Okay, cool. Okay.
So he went to go get Ben Affleck from Dawn of Justice. He brings him to the future, or whatever Earth that they may be on, where Michael Keaton is for Batman Beyond, whoever that may be.
Mm-hmm.
And now you got 3 different Batmans. If they don't already incorporate Robert Pattinson in Flashpoint 2. So it's just a huge, but eventually what I think they're going to try and do is do something similar to what Avengers did and bring everything together, but do a huge, crazy crossover and have a plethora of different people.
Oh yeah, which I hope they do, because they've really done well in achieving that with like the animated series and the animated movies. They've always been so on point with that, but then the DCU's just always fallen short with the movies and tying everyone together, and no one knows what universe we're in, or like you said, it is a multiverse, just, like Into the Spider-Verse.
Right.
Like, there are so many different Earths throughout just Justice League and Batman. It's nuts. So to not try to incorporate all that is like a serious.
It hurt my brain because I tried watching Arrow, Flash, and Legends of Tomorrow, and then all these other ones. I couldn't do it. Yeah. I literally couldn't do it.
I couldn't get into, honestly, not gonna lie, I could not get into the Arrowverse. Like any of the CW DC show, I'm like, I'm out, y'all. These are so dumb. I hate them.
I tried so hard, and I got pretty far into both Flash and Arrow, and then Legends of Tomorrow came in, and then I was watching an episode on Flash, but it was something completely different from the last episode. I was like, wait a minute, what just happened?
What happened?
So then I have to go back to Arrow and watch that episode on Arrow, to then watch it on Flash, to then watch it on Legends of Tomorrow, to then watch it on Supergirl, because it all correlates like that.
And that is when it's done poorly, when the fact that you have no connecting transition between those. Like, it's a cool idea, but it's all about ratings. You're literally just forcing people to watch these other shows so that you can get through the show you were originally watching.
And extremely time consuming. Even if you have any other favorite show, you're not watching that.
No, I'm like, I'm out, Like, the moment they start announcing like the musical crossover episodes, I'm like, the hell is this?
Yeah,
I am out. I am not here for that at all.
So, going back to cosplay really quick, I have I guess I wouldn't say an important question, but a very interesting question is kind of like with comic book movies and comic books in general. If you're not an original comic book fan, you're just a bandwagon, kind of like football, right? Or baseball or whatever sport. You're just a bandwagon person. When it comes to cosplay, in your opinion, is this too, quote unquote, too mainstream now? Like, is it overpopularized?
It is, but not necessarily in the bad sense. Like I mentioned before, I like how much has become so accessible. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I have found cosplay to be a huge tool in just myself, like coming out and being able to interact with people. I found that it's an incredible tool, just learning how to socialize and be able to put myself in the spotlight essentially and be able to deal with it. Because outside of costume, that was not a thing for me.
Yeah.
I really struggle with self-esteem and like stage fright. Like I would never have been able to get on stage, announce people, host shows, do anything like that if it hadn't been for cosplay. So literally in the best sense, yeah, it's mainstream, but kind of for the better. I think having it accessible to people who want to be a part of it can only be good. And I think it's a really cool outlet and a really cool hobby. And there have been some amazing talents to come out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So I definitely don't think it's a bad thing. There are days where you, kind of what you mentioned before, where I don't want to say like posers or whatever. Like there's still so much that I don't know even about the characters that I'll cosplay. Just because I cosplay that character does not by any definition mean that I am like an expert on that character or that universe or whatever.
Right.
But there is that connotation that comes with it that like, oh, if you're that character, you know the ins and outs and everything about that character. No, that's not necessarily true.
Yeah.
So with that, so there's always that fine line when stuff becomes mainstream. There are people that jump on the bandwagon, but there are people who just genuinely enjoy themselves in it, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Now, with that being said, too, and this is more of a, I guess, a more adult question. One, do you think it's over-sexualized? And two, would you consider? I believe what they're called is fuzzies. Is that considered
Furries?
furries? Is that considered cosplay too, or?
It
I don't
is.
think so.
It's its own realm within the cosplay community. Because even in the cosplay community, I struggle with furries, man. There are some genuinely nice people who consider themselves furries and dress up as original characters and stuff like that. And kudos to them. It is not my thing, but all the power to them. Let's just leave it at that. As far as the over-sexualization, I think it can be. I think when you take a perfectly established character and just try to make it like overly sexy for the sake of selling yourself and your own brand, I think that kind of sucks. But at the same time, there are girls that are making thousands a month by doing exactly that. So, I mean, there's definitely a lucrative sense in it. But at the same time, like, it is what you want it to be. So if you're in it to make money and to get modeling gigs, by all means. But if you're just in it to have fun and geek out and dress up as your favorite superhero or princess, then who the fuck cares? Like, just do it.
But I mean, there's got to be a fetish to it as well.
Oh, yeah.
There is, and I get that a lot. Like a lot of the questions asked, like, do you dress up like that, like for sex stuff? It's like, no, fucker. Like I dress up like this to go to hospital visits.
We weren't going to ask that question, but okay.
Yeah.
So, there we go. So, y'all do it.
So,
Like, it happens. Like people will ask. It's like, so is it a sex thing? And it's like, it may be in certain circles, but in general and definitely in like the mainstream sense, not really.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
we had a neighbor years ago when we lived in Arizona, and she was a dominatrix.
That's,
So she kind of had her little realm of cosplay. And then previously on a few episodes, we had a phone sex operator that we interviewed. So a lot of what she was saying as well, you can kind of get the visual of it being a play. They're living out a fantasy, right?
Yeah, it's cosplay for a reason. Like you're acting out these scenarios, you're acting out as these characters. So yeah, there's definitely like a level, I think, of sexualization that goes in with it. But
And they both made a lot of money.
on what aspect of it you're in. Because I was introduced to it via volunteer and charity work, I have a very different skew than if like a model who just happened to put on themed lingerie. We're going to have very different views on it.
It kind of destroys Halloween.
Or makes it better, depending on how you look at it.
True.
Yeah,
I'm
for
thinking
real.
of it as a parent's eye view.
Yeah. So we're gonna get into a quick story. This is going to be the assassination attempt that I told you about. Now, before we get started, do you know why I asked you to dress up as a Power Ranger?
I had a good feeling.
Okay.
May or
Now-
may not have happened 3 years ago at Phoenix Comic Con.
Out there you go. So now, for those who don't know, Dad, you may
I don't
not
know.
know.
I don't know.
3 years ago,
Keeping people out of the loop. I'm in the loop.
yes. So 3 years ago, Dad, you can definitely confirm this, but I would argue my high school, or not even high school, my hero as a child was,
Tommy.
yes, sir, Jason David Frank from the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers was almost, and I'm very thankful that it didn't happen. Very, very blessed that it didn't happen and nobody was injured. Was almost assassinated by a man who called himself the Punisher.
For real? This is for real.
This is for real. I am not kidding.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So this man,
in broad daylight.
broad daylight.
Yeah.
Late night. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
literally the first day of Phoenix Comic Con 2017.
And that's what I was going to ask you: is did you attend the Phoenix Comic Con when you were there?
Yeah.
No
I was
shit.
an exhibitor that year. Yeah, I was an exhibitor. We had literally just finished like unloading, getting our booth ready and everything. And then I had to go to work, and like halfway through my shift, my phone starts blowing up and everyone's like, "Are you okay? Are you at the convention center?" I'm like, "What the hell is going on?" And I start like looking and like texting people, and they're like, "Yeah, the cops had to escort like a crazy guy out. He was there to kill JDF." And I'm like, "What the frick?"
Yeah.
It was insane. It was
Crazy.
nuts.
And what's even crazier is this guy literally dressed up like the Punisher. Now, I will say this. He definitely, if you know who the Punisher is and what he looks like, Frank Castle, this guy did not look like Frank Castle or the Punisher. He was probably about a 200-pound over that weight limit.
I was about to say 200.
Yeah, I'm giving him the benefit. Yeah, he was a big dude.
He's a big boy.
He's a big dude, but he did the whole nine. Painted his face black with the white skull, and he came in armed to the teeth. He had a shotgun, 245 millimeter handguns. He had a plethora of ammunition on him, and a giant, like the knife that actually you gave me, Dad, for my birthday this year, like that. And what's even crazier is, because this is Comic-Con, you know, people, not to say that the convention center didn't do their job or anything like that, but they were telling people, hey, you know, your gun shouldn't be looking very, very realistic. They need to have these kind of tips on it, and so on and so forth. No one knew. They just thought, oh, this guy disassembled his airsoft guns or something like that, and then went in. But no, he had bullets in the chambers ready to go.
Yeah, they were all fully loaded. He had body armor on underneath his clothes. Like he was ready.
Yeah.
And he was able to bypass, I think, 2 floors of security, because when you're going in, you are literally stopped. All your props are handed over, whether they're plastic, wood, whatever. And at the time, there weren't like certain crazy limitations like there are now in response to this. But at the time, it's like everything had to be marked, everything had to be checked, and you got bright like orange or green zip ties put on, so that people would know that you went through security. Your weapon was either disarmed, not real, what have you. He was able to bypass 2 floors of that, and was literally sitting in like the 2nd floor just reading a program when a girl that he was talking to / like stalking online saw that he was like posting pictures. He was sending her pictures of cops because he was taking pictures as he was going throughout the convention center. So she called her local PD, and they called Phoenix, and they were able to go in and find him.
Yeah. Yeah,
I didn't hear about this.
That's the crazy part.
Man.
So, well, you know what's funny? You may not even remember, but we were over at the house. This was 3 years ago, so we were all over at the house. The family and I, and I remember seeing it on, because you know Papa's always watching the damn news.
The news, yeah.
And JDF, Jason David Frank, his face popped up, and I was like, wait a minute. what? And
Good for him.
I went over there and I turned it up and I was like, no freaking way. Sure enough, this dude he almost took him out, literally. And like Jen just said, the only reason why this dude was stopped is because one, he was posting stuff online, and the friend that you mentioned, she's actually a J-pop J-metal singer, which I guess is Japanese.
Yeah, that's
pop.
what it was. I couldn't remember what she did, whether she was a model or an actor or something.
Her name is Reiko Dig. Rayko Dig. I mean, thankfully she said something, because this could have ended really badly, not just for Jason David Frank, but for everyone that was in there.
So was
He was pretty much.
he intended on just taking him out or going out himself?
He was
intending to take him out, and then any cops that he deemed, he called them, what was it? I looked it up. The Aphrodite officers. He called them Aphrodite officers because they were bad guys that hid behind police badges.
Yep.
And were essentially I don't know if it was like a cult or if he was just saying they were bad guys masquerading as cops or what. They called them Aphrodite officers, and I'm like, that is the creepiest fucking thing I've ever heard.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Fucking
insane.
insane.
But he was going in with the intention of taking out anybody who got in his way, essentially.
Yeah. The dude,
and then walk out.
And then just walk out. Yeah, that's what he was wanting. Well, the whole thing that kickstarted that too also was that he said Jason David Frank stabbed him at some point in time in the past. And so he came back for revenge.
Was that true?
No. And no, because Jason David Frank was like, I've never met this guy. And what's even crazier is he went on, I mean, obviously there's news outlets that'll come out, after this happens and stuff. And he went on all of them and he's like, listen, I don't have any ill will towards this guy. I don't. I obviously he needs help, but I'm not upset with him. I'm like, God damn, dude, you definitely got a bigger heart than I do, because I'd try and tear that dude's heart out.
Right? And I absolutely feel the same. But it's crazy because after all that happened, I know JDF got a lot of, I guess, pushback because he was freaked out by it. And it's like, I'm sorry, have any of y'all had someone come in with the sole purpose of killing you?
Yeah.
I feel like no one can really talk ill about that. Yeah,
I can honestly
shit.
tell you, on my 21st birthday in July, I went to this little bar. It's over here in California. And
oh no.
Yeah. Let's just say, the bar people weren't too keen on people of a darker complexity, and this dude lost his mind. And the only reason why I bring this up is because out of nowhere, this guy pulls out a knife. It was a scuffle at first. It was me and a friend of mine, and I was able to throw the guy down, and I thought that would be it. Like, hey, leave us the fuck alone. We're going to take off. And this dude pulls out, I'm not even exaggerating, a knife this big, and he just starts charging at us. And it's a terrifying moment to think, it's not even a gun. If you get shot, it could be quick. If you get stuck with a knife, that's gonna take a minute.
Yeah,
it's gonna leave a mark.
It's gonna leave a mark. Yeah. Now the
gonna take a minute.
Now the funny part of this whole story is, and afterwards, we can laugh, but my friend,
oh no,
we ran as soon as we saw this guy come after us with a knife.
Oh, I know what you mean.
Yeah, we ran and we went opposite directions. So I went this way and he went that way. My buddy ran, and as he got up to run, and he fell, right? He literally fell. He doesn't know how he fell. And I'm
like every bad horror movie.
Exactly. And I'm keeping my eye on the guy, making sure he's not coming towards me. And I run, and as I turn to just sprint this way, I run face first right into a gigantic dumpster. And I'm like, what the fuck? Where the fuck did this come from? And now I'm running in a circle, and he's still chasing after me. And we were able to do a quick freaking football juke and get back into the car and take off. But the whole funny part of this is my buddy. So we're driving off, and we're like, holy shit, we well, we almost died. And he's a black guy. So when it's just whenever he speaks, it's funny as shit. So we're driving off and it's dead silent. And out of nowhere, he goes, "Man, now I know why all them white women fall in scary movies." I was like, "What? What?" And he was like, "I was terrified. I couldn't."
Oh my god! It's so freaking scary.
Oh, it was
like, I'm
fucking.
glad you're okay. You're laughing now, but holy crap!
Yeah, it was pretty intense. But yeah,
We
that
laughed for that for a long
a
time.
long time.
Everything besides that was like a blur, but that's all they focused on was him falling and him and making that comment. And to see the guy, to know the guy, you'd be like, that's freaking hilarious.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But yeah, it's terrifying. So I can't even imagine what JDF was going through. That not only did this guy have a huge Bowie knife, but he had a 12 gauge shotgun. He had two 45 millimeter handguns. He had a 4.54. He even had throwing stars on him.
Did he?
Yes, this guy had throwing stars on him. Like he was gonna stand back 50 yards and just launch stars into his face. Yeah.
I like the sound effects.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all I do in my spare time is just practice sound effects.
But that is
it's part of the gig.
That is the story of
pay me the big bucks.
Of the true crime story that I wanted to tell, and it's just crazy that something like that can happen to anybody, really.
It's nuts. Yeah, you never know.
Before we get out of here, Jen, I have one last question. How has cosplay changed your life?
Exponentially.
Yeah.
I am a very different person, probably as you know from high school, but even just 4 years ago. It's just so crazy. Like it's the perfect embodiment of everything I've ever been interested in, whether it was cosplay, acting, singing, artwork, like just in general, just every artistic aspect of my life has just kind of been mushed into this one hobby, and it's just super satisfying, and I feel like I've really found my niche in it, and I've made some of the coolest friends. I actually met my current boyfriend through this, and it's pretty incredible. So to anyone who's ever interested in getting into it, just do it. Like I hate that I waited so long to get into it, because I wanted to for a while before I ever put on my first costume. So if you have that itch, just go for it. It's so fun. You won't regret it. It is one of the most accepting, open-minded communities you could ever be a part of.
So I was reading one of your posts last night. So was that your biggest fear, coming out of your comfort zone, or stage fright, or all the above?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Because growing up, despite having an affinity for singing and acting, the moment when I got on stage, I would shake. I would get sick. Like, I couldn't do everything that I wanted. And to be held back by myself was, like, one of the most frustrating things growing up with. So the moment that I found, like, this weird superpower in being in a costume or behind a mask or under makeup, it's weirdly liberating. And like I said, it's literally like a superpower. Like, you can do the things that you wouldn't normally. And that sounds so weird and so lame on so many levels that I totally get
It doesn't. It just reminds me of the picture you have up of Wonder Woman, the feminist shirt you have.
Yeah.
That was a good costume.
Yeah. But it's true, because I found my opinion, like, just within, like, the past couple years, I've really found my voice politically, artistically, and being able to be on a platform that I can really put myself out there and not really give much of a crap about what people think, other than, hey, I like finding other like-minded people. Let's talk about this. Let's do this.
Yep.
So it's really been a gateway to just finding what I love to do, and it's fun and weird and dumb all at the same time.
It's actually very encouraging. We had a guy we spoke to last episode. He was a
Bio
crime
waste
scene
technician.
cleaner. Yeah. And
I saw your clip of that.
yeah, the suicide topic came up, and he kind of wanted to collaborate with the aftermath of what it can happen with the family members, what they ended up going through, and with the suicide prevention hotline. But my question to you is, coming out of your shell and listening to you talk now, I can't imagine you being so confined. I mean, I didn't know you during high school, obviously, but even now you're just bright. You just are bright. So I can't imagine if that's what cosplay has done for you. I agree. People should do it. My kid, he's just weird.
Absolutely.
He takes that from me.
I'm totally out of it. Yeah.
He takes that from me. We're both just weird.
That's how I was. I was incredibly sheltered and weird, and no one understood me, and that's okay. But once you find those outlets and you find your passion, like, the best of you comes out. So if people are looking down that road, do it. And if you have any questions, hit me up. I love talking to people about this stuff.
No, it makes sense. You
yeah.
put it in real easy perspective, even for a guy like me to understand. So
Yeah,
thank you.
and that's
Good.
yeah, that's the best thing too, is really breaking it down and like explaining, this is how it makes me feel. This is how it could potentially make you feel. It's a very welcoming community. It's a very welcoming hobby, and it's fun. That's the best thing.
It is fun.
It's fun.
It's stupid fun, y'all. I hope you guys will come with me to a Comic-Con next year or something. Like, I'd love to show you the ins and outs.
Trust me.
Well, it's a lot better than my pretend. I used to carry a stick and make sound effect. You guys are totally all into costume and attitude and behavior.
I just have a lightsaber now.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
So before we get out of here, Jen, is there anything that you would like to promote? Any charities, anything, website or anything like that?
Like, how much time y'all got?
All the time you have.
Yes. All right. Buckle down. So definitely, thank you guys so much for bringing up the Super Ladies Foundation. We are really excited for that. We're starting now. We're literally on our last version of our official charter to turn it into a 501c3 and be an officially certified charity group, a nonprofit.
Congratulations.
So thank you. We are so stupid excited. So there's definitely that. The other group that I'm a part of, I actually manage our social media as a Comic Care, and that's actually how I met most of these girls, was through that established group. We just celebrated 6 years as a nonprofit as Comic Care, but they're the ones that mostly do the hospital visits and stuff throughout the valley. So definitely, if you have a chance, check them out. There's some amazingly talented people on that team. I'm also part of the AZA, which is the Arizona Avengers, and they're more of a niche group. Like, they're Marvel volunteers, but they're also a local nonprofit that do amazing work. And they're a huge group. They're kind of extended all over Arizona, but they're so incredibly sweet and so cool. Like, I've just made so many more friends through this group, and they're awesome. They do so much in the community. There's like so much more I want to list. I feel bad.
Is this how you met Silent Maggie, the lady with the tattoos on her back?
Yeah,
have you seen the tattoos?
Yes, I love her so much. I actually just saw her a couple weeks ago. She came through my shop, and I was able to see her quite a few times through the pandemic. She's like the one friend I've been able to see like consistently, like, throughout this.
That's awesome.
She's amazing. She has the biggest freaking heart, sweetest person you'll ever meet.
She can take some pain. You see her back tattoos, Jim?
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's awesome.
She's a badass.
Yeah.
She's a badass woman. I love her. She's so cool.
What type of shop are you in?
I work at a frozen yogurt shop. We
okay.
I manage a local frozen yogurt shop. Actually, the reason I'm glad we couldn't do this tomorrow is that we're starting on a mural on our shop, and I'm actually assisting with it, and I'm really excited about that. I'll be posting more about that this week. But yeah, so being a local shop in a pandemic, that's been super fun and interesting. So.
Interesting. Are you in Phoenix?
Tempe.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're like right up the road from ASU.
Yeah.
Well, Jen, thank you so much for coming on. I am
course.
one. Thank you. It's amazing to see you. I mean, we've been in California now for 11 years, so I haven't seen anybody or spoken really to anybody since graduation when they kicked me off the damn stage, and I'm gonna leave it at that. But yeah, it's been fantastic. Thank you so much for coming on, and I'm very happy that you were able to do this with us.
Yeah,
Thank
actually,
you so
real
much
quick,
for having me, man. Yeah.
you did that in 09.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, this is his artwork from high school.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
he did a couple of these.
Shout out,
I didn't know that.
shout out Moon Valley
Yeah.
High School to the best art teacher that I have ever had.
Smith.
Art Smith.
Best
Art
dude
Smith, the
ever.
art teacher.
The art
Yeah,
teacher,
man.
yes, sir.
The most magical human being you'll ever meet.
Oh, dude, he
Best
was
teacher I ever had.
hilarious. He was
I love
Well, there
hilarious.
goes some of his artwork. I've saved it. I actually went to our storage for this episode specifically because he thought, Dad, do you have any costumes or anything like that? And I'm kind of a corny guy. I was like, sure, I'll dress up like Nacho Libre. That would have been my costume.
Why the hell didn't you? I'm so disappointed now.
Well, I got rid of the mullet. I used to have hair down to my waist earlier this year.
To
and
your
I
waist,
cut it
dude,
all
you
off.
had that down to the back of your knees.
Yeah, it was
That
pretty
thing was
long.
long.
Yeah, it was. I had let it grow for 6 years. I did get it cut 5 inches for our wedding.
Yeah.
And then I just couldn't handle it no more. I just had to cut it.
You
I
look
still have it in my
Samoan.
drawer.
I feel you. Here, hang on. Before we take off, let me show you.
Okay.
Yes. Attractive.
Whoa! There it is. Merida. There she is.
I can hear you through the headphones, and that's hilarious.
That's
Damn,
Merida.
your hair is
Merida's from who?
Super
Brave?
from Brave, yeah.
That was the other costume I liked.
Yeah. Dude, your hair is super thick. Holy crap.
And it looks great right now. I'm so glad I did that.
Is that your natural hair color?
It is, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's like zone. So I feel your pain, man. I need a
Yeah, it was
haircut
terrible.
So bad.
I couldn't handle it anymore. But anyway, I was looking at your other pages, and I have 2 goddaughters. They're sets of twins, and they are gonna love the fact that I talked to Elsa and Anna at the same time.
Yep.
So I'm gonna show them your
If
page.
their birthdays are coming up, you let me know, and I will make some Anna Elsa videos for them. You just hit me up.
They
Oh.
just
yeah,
passed.
Yeah.
Just passed
Yeah,
last month. They just turned 8.
Mine too.
They just turned 8 years old. Yeah.
Maybe I'll send out like Christmas videos then.
That'd be awesome.
I will.
Okay.
Let's do that.
Yes.
I will
For
shoot
the
you some
goddaughters,
cash.
for my kids, absolutely.
Yep.
Fine. I got y'all covered.
Thank you so much.
Got it.
Thank you so
Jen-
much, guys. It's so nice seeing you.
It's so nice seeing you too. Thank you. Stay
Of course.
safe. Stay cool, because I know it's like 120
Yeah.
right now over in Tempe.
I'm
So
like upset that y'all are in Cali and I'm still
hey,
here.
it ain't.
No.
It's no walking.
We're in the
park
middle of
over
a
here.
fire.
Yeah.
You can look out our
Hey,
window
we're just all
and
on
there's
fire.
smoke.
It's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
whole
We'll be all right.
Bay Area is damn near gone.
Where
Good
he
Lord.
lives is actually more of a hazard because he lives in drier area than I
Yep.
do. I'm right by the coast.
Yep.
He is right by
Oh,
the bay,
gotcha.
but there's a bigger fire out toward he is than I am. But we're directly in the middle of the Southern California and the Northern California fire, and we're getting the ash is raining on our vehicles. I
Yeah.
have a black SUV.
Oh, man.
I have a black SUV, and it's just
Great for the
settling.
lungs during a
Oh, yeah.
pandemic, right?
Yeah, it's not. It's not at all.
Good Lord. Well, you guys stay safe, please.
Absolutely.
I'll be fine. Y'all take care of yourselves.
Oh, we will. We will.
All right, Jen.
I'm so
Thank you
glad
so
I got
much.
to see you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank
Oh,
you.
next
thank
time.
Thank you for coming on.
Of course.
Thank you.
Bye,
Talk to you
guys.
later.
Bye-bye.
Bye bye.